I think in another interview you said you run a tight ship on set.
Oh, I do.
It's great.
Yeah.
What are 5 things a director needs to do when they first get on set?
Okay, so are you referring to just as a director, or you're talking about a director-producer?
Let's try director-producer.
Okay, because that's what I do. I've never had the luxury of just being a director. That's why I have to ask that question, because being a producer, you're worried about money from day one. So what I do is I make sure that everybody's on time. I'm extremely tough about that. I've fired people because they arrive late. Straight up, just because, you have a key that is late and you have 10 people standing around, even if they're 15 minutes late. 10 people times 15, is basically an hour and 2.5 hours of time you've lost. When you're dealing with minuscule budgets, that kind of stuff adds up very quickly, and that means money lost. So I take that stuff extremely seriously. I rehearse my actors. I know what I want. I don't vacillate on set. I know what I need to cover because I'm thinking about the edit. I shoot for the edit, and then I give some freedom. I'm very much a stickler upon my script, very much so. I don't really allow much improv. Because again, it comes down to budget. With the web series, we let a lot of improv go because we had a different budget structure for that than we did for the feature film. The one thing that I do too is I try and make breakfast for everybody. Just because one is it puts me in the mindset of what I need to do for the day, just by the repetition of doing things. Also two is a matter of welcoming people to the set that day. And then also the idea of if you go into later hours, people are generally a little bit more friendlier because they know you fed them. I know it sounds crazy. That's not why I do it, but I've learned that that's a benefit of it. It's just something that, in my early career, I worked in the F&B business while I was making films and stuff, which I strongly suggest anybody doing. I think somebody that works in the restaurant business is a great proving ground for great filmmakers, especially producers, just because you have to think about a lot of different things. I can get into that whole other topic. But I make sure everything's buttoned up. I make sure that we have call sheets. I make sure that everybody, that I have a shot list for everybody. I'm very organized. In fact, it's funny because my wife always says, I wish you ran the rest of your life like you run your productions, because everything can have its place. Everything's very specific. And it's not to say that my sets are dismal to be on. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I just need that uniformity so that we can rest. So I know that everything's being taken care of. Because when you're producing and directing, you're doing a lot of internal battles in your head because shit, I didn't get that shot. I need to take it again, but then you're losing light, and then you realize that, oh my gosh, I've got to light this thing. We're gonna run over overtime, and so now all of a sudden, I'm doing the math in my head and be like, oh wow, is it worth it? And so you have these little battles in your head if you're a director producer. I always also make sure I surround myself with a go-getter. Ryan he's a beast. He just dug in early on and just got stuff done for me. Assumed a lot of responsibility. And my entire team, it's a matter of everybody understanding what the vision is and getting everybody to follow that vision. My DP, Matt, it's interesting. Every film set has their own battle scars. And big question is, would you go to battle again with those people? That's the biggest question you have to ask after a shoot. And I've gone to battle with people many times. So.
Well, how is working in a restaurant preparing you for a film set?
Oh, so many things. So, as a waitron, you have to think fast on your feet. You also have to realize that you're constantly pleasing people. You have to remember a lot of things. What you carry out of the kitchen, you should be carrying something back. So it's a matter of efficiency. If you're really good if you work your butt off and you're good to the owner might even cater your film shoot. You get generally a meal a day as well, so that means that you only have to provide yourself 2 meals. You know, there's the idea of camaraderie and a matter of like, you know, getting through something that's very hectic, because most restaurants are very hectic, at least at some point of a shift. It's a matter of working on your feet for long hours. And you also have to stay very organized as well in terms of regimented in your head of what has to come next. There's a lot of things to working in the restaurant business. It's funny because like I always tell everybody, the other thing too, a matter of like working in the restaurant business, like you can do your film business stuff during the day and then work at night, which is what I did early on in my career. And then what I would end up doing is take off for, you know, 6 weeks to shoot my film. You know, and they always would take me back because I was a hard worker and things. But, you know, that's kind of like how I got through my early career.